Patricia's voice was calm but firm. "We purchased specific seats. I'd like to see them manifest." Melissa hesitated. "Mr. Reynolds is a platinum member and usually sits there." "Our status is irrelevant," Patricia snapped, holding out their boarding passes. "We paid for 3A. Honor the reservation." Zara stood quietly beside her aunt, her eyes drifting to her backpack now, beside the man who had taken her seat. Sensitive data, billions in intellectual property. Patricia noticed too. "I want to speak to your supervisor," she demanded. Tension rippled through the cabin. Dr. Chin, across the aisle, had his phone out subtly recording. Other passengers slowed, watching. The narrow aircraft now felt like a stage. "I'll call the lead attendant," Melissa mumbled, reaching for the intercom. "While you do that," Patricia said, pulling out her phone, "I'll document this." She began recording. Clayton, still lounging in Zara's seat, reacted instantly. "Stop filming me. I'm being harassed," he shouted, raising a hand to block his face. "You're sitting in a child's seat," Patricia replied evenly, and going through her personal belongings. "I'm protecting my niece." The moment was unraveling. What started as entitled arrogance was quickly becoming a viral reckoning. The lead flight attendant, Barbara, appeared, her stern expression scanning between Patricia and Clayton. "What's the issue?" she asked. Clayton jumped in first. "This woman and her child are harassing me. I'm a platinum member and need to prepare for a meeting. They're making me feel unsafe." His emphasis on child dripped with contempt. Patricia stayed calm. "My niece and I are in our assigned first-class seats." This man took her seat and removed her belongings. "Your crew suggested she stand during the flight instead of enforcing our seating." Barbara turned to Melissa, another flight attendant. Melissa fidgeted. "I was just trying to make it work." Dr. Chin, a nearby passenger, stood up. "I saw everything. The young girl was seated first. This man arrived later and forced her out." Clayton grew louder. "I don't feel safe. I need security. Call the captain." Tension escalated fast. The captain's voice came over the intercom. "Security. Situation reported in first class. Boarding is suspended." Phones emerged. Passengers began filming. Moments later, 2 air marshals boarded and, shockingly, headed straight for Patricia and Zara. Double quotes M. "You and your niece need to come with us." "On what grounds?" Patricia asked. "We're being treated like threats for asking for our paid seats." Dr. Chin held up his phone. "I recorded the entire thing. These two did nothing wrong." Others chimed in, backing Patricia and Zara. Then came the twist. "This is corporate espionage," Clayton blurted. "They're with a rival company, trying to steal secrets from Tech Dynamics." The marshals paused. "So, this is a corporate dispute." The captain's voice returned. "All passengers must deplane. The flight is delayed." As passengers groaned and gathered belongings, Zara noticed Clayton slip something into his pocket. Her heart dropped. "My bracelet," she whispered to Patricia. The disguised tech contained Zara's algorithm and access keys, critical quantum, Nexus IP. Now in a waiting area, Patricia kept her cool while scanning Clayton, who was grinning into his phone. ATSA Supervisor Jordan Williams approached. "Ms. Jenkins, I need to ask a few questions." Patricia positioned herself protectively in front of Zara. "We've done nothing wrong. Check the footage." Jordan nodded. "I've reviewed the video. It's clear you were wronged. But there's more. Mr. Reynolds has accused you of espionage. Tech Dynamics execs are on their way here now." Zara's missing bracelet raised serious concern. "It was in my backpack. He must have taken it." Jordan looked grave. "We saw him reach into your bag." "I'll look into it." After a tense wait, Jordan returned. "We've detained Mr. Reynolds. During a search, we found this." He held up Zara's bracelet in an evidence bag. Clayton claimed it accidentally fell into his pocket. Jordan handed it over. But there's a complication. Tech Dynamics says it contains their stolen IP. They're demanding answers. Patricia remained composed. The bracelet is my niece's. It holds nothing of theirs. But both women knew the truth. The tech inside was revolutionary, and if it fell into the wrong hands, the damage could be massive. Jordan's expression stayed neutral. Ordinarily, this would be a simple theft report, he said quietly. But given corporate interests and the accusations from both sides, we're obligated to investigate further. He lowered his voice. Mr. Reynolds is claiming your security threats, and Tech Dynamics is pushing to escalate this. Patricia straightened. This is harassment and discrimination. Now that he's caught, he's inventing excuses. Jordan nodded. I'm doing what I can, but Tech Dynamics wants you both detained until their legal team arrives. I suggest making any calls you need now. After Jordan left, Patricia contacted Quantum Nexus's legal team, while Zara confirmed her bracelet remained secure. This wasn't random. It was clear Clayton Reynolds had targeted them intentionally. What started as a seat dispute had escalated into a corporate standoff over Zara's technology. The conference room door opened, and in walked Victor Harrington, CEO of Tech Dynamics, flanked by 2 lawyers. Let's skip formalities, Victor said coolly. You're carrying proprietary technology. Patricia remained poised. Your employee stole my niece's property. Any espionage claims are desperate cover-ups for his behavior, witnessed and recorded by multiple people. Victor smirked. We know you, Miss Jenkins, and what company you represent. And no educational program sends a child with tech this advanced. His lawyer presented a draft injunction demanding the bracelet. Jordan frowned. This isn't a court order. I can't confiscate personal property without proper authority, Victor pressed. That device is worth billions. You'll regret letting it walk out of here. Tension spiked as Jordan left to consult legal. Victor eyed Zara. Who is this child really? A prop or something else? Patricia stayed calm. My niece is a bright girl attending a conference. The bracelet is hers. Victor scoffed. Our engineers detected encryption signatures too similar to be coincidence. Zara clenched her fists, knowing Tech Dynamics had never cracked quantum encryption. Her algorithm was light years ahead. She bit her tongue as the room's tension built. Just then, Jordan returned with Dr. Michael Chin, a Meridian Medical Systems executive, whose appearance surprised everyone. Actually, I'm not a random passenger, Chin said. Your company tried to steal our imaging tech last year. I recognized the pattern here. Chin played security footage showing Reynolds rummaging through Zara's backpack before boarding. The implication was clear. This had been premeditated. Competitive intelligence. Chin asked dryly. That's corporate espionage. Well, the adults argued. Zara discreetly accessed a nearby terminal, sending an encrypted message to Quantum Nexus. Checkmate protocol initiated. Victor's desperation grew. Why would we steal from a child? Because your company has a record of targeting smaller innovators, Dr. Chin replied. Airport security soon brought in a shaken Clayton Reynolds. His panicked excuse, they planted it on me, directly contradicted earlier claims. Victor tried salvaging control, but Zara slipped up, snapping, You don't even understand how it works. Your encryption's stuck using standard qubits. The room fell silent. Victor's glare sharpened. How does a kid know that? Patricia intervened. She's exceptionally bright. She reads about quantum computing for fun. Victor wasn't convinced, and moments later, Jordan announced fresh findings. Reynolds had received a call with instructions before the incident. The premeditation was undeniable. As arguments escalated, Zara got a message confirming Quantum Nexus's cyber defenses were activated. Meanwhile, the conflict had spilled online. Videos of the original incident went viral. Hashtags like #FirstClass while black trending nationally. Patricia's phone buzzed non-stop as public outrage swelled. Victor scowled at his phone. This is a misunderstanding blown out of proportion by social media mobs. Jordan glanced up from his tablet. The context seems crystal clear from the videos. The fight was no longer confined to a conference room. It had become a high-stakes battle in public, in courtrooms, and across corporate networks. With an 11-year-old genius at its heart, Mr. Reynolds sat in a child's seat, rummaged through her belongings, and stole her property. The racial optics were undeniable. This isn't about race. It's about intellectual property, Victor Harrington scoffed. Patricia stayed silent until now. Your employee targeted my niece. The security footage confirms it. That's not an opinion, it's theft. She held up her phone. A headline blared. Tech executive steals black child's seat. Cries espionage when caught. Victor turned red. This is character assassination. Tech Dynamics champions diversity. Dr. Chin didn't look up. 2 black execs out of 73 leaders, both in non-technical roles, and 3 ongoing discrimination suits. Just then, a PR rep entered, Diana Reynolds, Victor's communications officer. Her arrival visibly unsettled him. Diana offered calm professionalism. We recognize Mr. Reynolds' actions were inappropriate. We'd like to resolve this quietly. Start with a public apology, Patricia countered, and drop the false espionage claim. Victor began to protest, but Diana silenced him. Meanwhile, the media storm outside was growing. Videos of Clayton's entitled behavior were going viral. Jordan Williams returned. Airport footage shows Reynolds called HQ before approaching the girl. It was premeditated. Diana asked to speak privately with Patricia and Zara. Once alone, she revealed a shocking truth. I know who you are, she told Zara. You're J, founder of Quantum Nexus. Patricia stiffened, but Diana continued. I'm your CFO, hired remotely. You've never met me, but I triggered Protocol Hummingbird as soon as this broke. Your executive team is already en route. Zara tested her. Protocol checkmate. Diana answered. Queen's Gambit accepted. She was legit. She also dropped another bombshell. I'm Clayton's sister. I infiltrated Tech Dynamics after they stole from my last company. I've been building a case against them for months. Just then, Jordan returned. Clayton's been released. He's demanding to speak with you. News crews are swarming the terminal. Diana's tone turned urgent. They're trying to flip the story before they even know what it is. We need to stay ahead. Dr. Chin entered quietly. I believe I know who Zara is. The algorithm in her bracelet matches one I saw years ago while consulting for Quantum Nexus. It's brilliant and clearly built by a mind unburdened by adult assumptions. Why help us? Zara asked. Because Tech Dynamics buried cancer. Detection tech my team developed. It could have saved lives in poor communities. They stole it to protect their high-end systems. He showed them a document. 17 confirmed cases of Tech Dynamics stealing from minority and women-led startups. In every case, the innovation vanished only to reappear in Tech Dynamics products months later. They offer insultingly low buyouts, he said grimly, and when founders say no, they erase them. There's only one known photo of him, Dr. Chin said, turning the screen to the group. He avoids publicity at all costs. The image was the same one Zarya had shown Harrison the day before, his own face staring back at the room. His mind scrambled for an exit strategy. Maybe he could excuse himself, check on the fake apartment, disappear before they made the connection. But fate moved faster. His phone buzzed, slipping off the couch. As he reached for it, his wallet tumbled out, falling open to reveal his driver's license and business card. Dion picked them up, hand froze. Harrison Montgomery, he said, voice tightening with realization. Montgomery Holdings. The room went still. That's not possible, Piana whispered, eyes darting from the ID to Harrison's face, to the photo Marcus still held. The resemblance was undeniable. You son of a bitch, Marcus growled, disbelief hardening into fury. You came here to what, spy on us? Get off on watching the people you're about to evict. Harrison rose instinctively, slipping into the posture he wore in boardrooms. It wasn't like that. I was walking through the neighborhood, and your daughter invited. She trusted you, Tiana snapped, stepping in front of Zarya. You sat at our table, ate our food, while planning to bulldoze our home. Zarya peeked out, confused and hurt. Mr. Harry, are you the bad man from the newspaper? That question struck harder than anything else. I'm a businessman, Harrison murmured. This is a development, not personal. A businessman. Dion stepped forward, fists clenched. You're a predator. You target black and brown communities because you think we can't fight back. That's not true, Harrison said. Though the acquisition data targeted demographically transitional zones with limited legal recourse. It's economics. Don't insult us, Marcus cut in. This is about race. 7 historically black neighborhoods, Harrison. Not one white one. Tiana's voice was steady, but pained. You were gathering intel, weren't you? Looking for weaknesses. No, Harrison struggled. The truth was, that had been the plan. But something changed. He just didn't know how to say it. From the corner, Mama Pearl finally spoke. I knew you were hiding something. Not 'cause you're white. We got good white folks here. But you had something in your eyes. I want to know, did any of this touch you? Or are we just obstacles? The question hung. I need to go, Harrison said, grabbing his coat. My lawyers will. Dion stepped in. Tiana's hand on his arm stopped him from swinging. That's it, she said. You destroy lives and leave with a shrug. What do you want me to say? Harrison snapped. That I'll cancel a $300 million project because I had dinner with you. Tiana's voice turned cold. This isn't real estate. This is our lives. Where my baby took her first steps. Where my husband died. You can't price that. Neighborhoods change, Harrison said, defaulting. That's progress. We house hundreds of people. Who can pay $3,000 for a studio? Marcus snapped. While we get pushed out. This isn't progress. It's systemic racism in a new suit. Harrison stood mute. I didn't create this system, he said weakly. You just profit from it, Dion said. And sleep fine, don't you? Harrison had no reply. The teacher he pretended to be was gone. But the billionaire he was felt like a ghost. In this small apartment, surrounded by their pain and decency, he felt stripped, bare. Get out, Marcus said quietly, before I forget myself. Zarya burst into tears. But it's Thanksgiving weekend, she cried. Nobody should be alone on Thanksgiving. He's got his money, Dion said bitterly. Harrison picked up his things in silence. No apology would fix this. At the door, Mama Pearl spoke once more. When you lay down tonight in your fancy home, she said, remember this. You broke a child's heart. One who saw you not as a white man or a rich man but just someone lonely. That's what you're destroying. The ability to see people like that. Harrison froze, then left. The door shut behind him like a verdict. The sunlight on the snow outside was blinding. He stood there, unsure where to go. For a man who controlled everything, this uncertainty was terrifying. He called his driver, ignoring the questions about what he was doing in Harlem during a blizzard. As he waited, a laughing child zipped by with a sled. The sound reminded him so much of Zarya. He flinched. What began as a strange impulse had cracked something inside him. The Bentley arrived. Curious and cold stares followed him. He climbed in, the partition sliding up, and then he shivered not from the cold, but from the fracture within. For the first time in decades, Harrison Montgomery wondered if his entire life had been built on a lie. As the Bentley glided uptown, Harlem fading behind him, he stared out, shattered inside. His driver made small talk. Harrison didn't answer. Back in his underground garage, he went through motions like a ghost, nodding to the doorman, riding the elevator, stepping into the vast, empty penthouse. But his mind was still in that warm, worn apartment in Harlem. He poured himself a drink with shaking hands, then walked through rooms bigger than the Johnsons' whole home. The luxury felt like a cage now. The art, the glass, the gadgets hollow. He thought of Zaria's face, Tiana's words, Dion's anger, Marcus' challenge, Mama Pearl's wisdom. He left the drink untouched. Scrolling through his phone, he found a number. His son's. He hadn't called in years. After 4 rings, the voicemail played. "This is Alex. Leave a message, if it's important." "Alex," Harrison began, voice trembling. "It's your father. I just wanted to say happy Thanksgiving. I've been thinking about you. If you ever want to talk." He paused. "I'm sorry." Click. Still restless, Harrison went to his laptop, but instead of market data, he searched Harlem's history, its music, its activism, its struggle, redlining, disinvestment, mutual aid. A living story he'd never seen as anything but data points. He learned Mama Pearl's family had been there for generations. Jazz musicians, business owners. That heritage never made it into his cost-benefit analysis. He opened the Pinnacle Heights development file again, this time, with different eyes. What he saw now was not revitalization. It was erasure. His phone buzzed. An email from PR denying he'd ever been in Harlem, reaffirming commitment to revitalizing underserved areas. The words made him sick. He changed clothes, told his driver to wait, and stepped into the snow. This time, he went to the Bronx, to the place he'd once called home. His old apartment, gone, replaced with a boutique hotel, the corner store, an artisanal cafe, the playground, a dog park. He stood where his family had been evicted, where his childhood was dismantled, and he realized he had become the very force that once destroyed him. Back home, he pulled up files. The data was damning. Montgomery Holdings had deliberately targeted Black and Latino communities with low political clout and weak legal defenses. Every acquisition, every tactic, every loophole, they all pointed to a system built to exploit. As midnight neared, an alert pinged. Protests had begun. Images of Harlem residents holding signs. His face, "Stop the Vulture." National media, attention. Politicians questioning the project's approval. His phone rang. The PR chief. "Sir, if you were actually in Harlem, we need to assess the risk. The narrative is out of control." Harrison let it ring. He didn't want damage control. He wanted truth. The airport security control center erupted into action as Patricia and 11-year-old Zara burst in, breathless and pursued. "We need help," Patricia told stunned personnel. One officer recognized them. "You're from the Tech Dynamics incident." Just outside, Clayton Reynolds pounded the door, demanding access. "You're harboring a thief," he shouted. As backup was called, Zara moved to the control console. "I need 30 seconds, she said, her quiet command disarming resistance. In seconds, she finalized a protocol that triggered a wave of consequences across the digital world. On one screen, Clayton was being restrained. On another, Victor Harrington argued with arriving federal agents. Zara turned from the console. Phase 3 complete. Patricia checked her secure phone. The Quantum Nexus team was in position. Diana's work had ignited a storm. Financial records, internal documents, and stolen innovations now flooded social media. Tech Dynamics stock crashed 20% in minutes by the time Zara and Patricia reached the terminal. Chaos had fully erupted. Journalists swarmed. Clayton was let out in handcuffs. And then Zara stepped forward. "My name is Zara Jenkins," she said, into the microphones. "I am the founder and CEO of Quantum Nexus." Silence fell. The crowd blinked in disbelief as the composed child continued, revealing she had worked in secret as the genius coder ZJ since age 8. Tech Dynamics had targeted her out of arrogance and prejudice. Believing a black girl couldn't possibly hold that much power, Diana stepped up, confirming her undercover infiltration of Tech Dynamics and their long history of stealing from marginalized innovators. As news of the revelations spread, stock markets plunged, viewership soared, and more victims came forward, echoing the same pattern. Their ideas stolen, their voices silenced. When Victor tried to deny everything, Zara calmly dismantled his arguments with technical precision that silenced even the most skeptical. Federal agents stepped in, showing Victor sealed evidence. His face turned pale. The reckoning had begun. As more testimonies surfaced, the story grew from one of discrimination on a plane to the exposure of a corporate empire built on exploitation. Jordan Williams approached Zara. "I owe you an apology," he said, visibly moved. "You stood tall when it mattered most." Zara nodded, no longer hiding. She had arrived not just to defend her work, but to change an industry. Zara smiled. "No apology needed, Officer Williams. You were one of the few who treated us fairly. From the start." She paused, then added, "Quantum Nexus is expanding its security division. Someone with your integrity would be a great asset." Across the terminal, Melissa, the flight attendant who had sided with Clayton, watched uncomfortably as events unfolded. When questioned by reporters, the airline's spokesperson announced all customer-facing staff would undergo comprehensive anti-bias training. Melissa was specifically assigned to an intensive diversity and inclusion program. In a surprise appearance, the airline CEO publicly apologized to Zara, vowing immediate policy changes. What happened today was unacceptable. Every passenger deserves respect and dignity, regardless of age, race, or background. The fallout was swift and far-reaching. Tech Dynamics stock plummeted 60% by evening. Multiple executives were placed on leave pending a federal investigation. Clayton Reynolds faced charges of assault, theft, and corporate espionage. Meanwhile, the story sparked a wider reckoning across Silicon Valley. Tech companies began reassessing their diversity practices. Venture capital firms launched new funding initiatives for underrepresented founders, and the tech world's gatekeepers were suddenly under pressure to open the doors they had long kept closed. Though Zara had planned to reveal her identity at the San Francisco Tech Summit, she instead made her announcement right there in Atlanta's airport terminal. "Today started with discrimination, something far too common for people who look like me," she said, addressing the crowd and cameras. "But that bias became a tool to cover something worse, an attempt to steal what they thought I'd be too powerless to protect." Her voice, young but confident, rang out. "The tech industry has operated under false limits, dismissing too many brilliant minds who don't fit the stereotype of a genius. That ends today." She gestured to the diverse team around her. "This is what the future of innovation looks like, diverse, inclusive, and judged solely on merit." Later that night, aboard the Quantum Nexus private jet, Zara, now traveling openly as herself, reflected on how everything had changed. No longer hidden behind pseudonyms or proxies, she was free to lead in the open. Opening her secure tablet, she began coding her next project, a platform to identify and support breakthrough technologies from underrepresented inventors. The algorithm Clayton tried to steal was already being implemented worldwide, but Zara's mission went far beyond one innovation. She was building a future where no mind was overlooked because of age, race, or gender. A world where no young genius had to hide to be taken seriously. As the jet lifted off for San Francisco, she smiled, thinking of tomorrow's headlines and the industry she was about to transform.